A lot of folks think that finding clients is the hardest part of becoming a freelancer. And it's hard, but the hardest part for me was figuring out how much to charge for what I do. There's so much to consider when figuring out how much to charge for freelance services. As a PR practitioner with a ton of experience in media relations and media strategy, I knew that what I do is valuable. But how valuable? Before I get into the nitty-gritty of how I price my services, it's important to level set the goals that I had for my business. Earlier, I made some videos about questions you need to ask yourself at the beginning of your journey, and these questions will determine how much you charge. For me, it was very, very important to be able to charge enough that I could still have the time and energy that I wanted to maintain without having to be working around the clock. I also know that I'm not interested in bringing on a team. I'm trying not to really go beyond being a solopreneur. So that also all incorporates into how I figure out how much to charge for my business. Before I sat and had that self-reflection with myself and answered those questions, I was just sort of like, yeah, sure, I want to freelance. Let's just see what's out there. And I was trying so many different things. I thought I wanted to focus on social media, help people with their content, help people manage their pages. I thought it would be fun and easy, pretty much, right, to come up with these ideas and help people with their social presence. But I realized that the market was not willing to pay what was sort of in line with my income goals for social media. That was a big learning, that I realized that the value of, unfortunately, social media in the marketplace isn't as high as it should be. Thankfully, because I circled back with myself and did that self-reflection and asked myself those key questions, I was able to say, you know what, I need to pivot because the social media lane isn't quite where I think I should be. So having that experience of understanding sort of what the market was saying for that particular skill set helped me get to the point of realizing, okay, I really want to focus on media relations, media strategy. And from there, it's just about doing research. First, like I said in my previous video, I talked about how I was able to become a freelancer at my previous job. And that allowed me, even when I was full-time, we worked with freelancers and I was able to see how much they charged us. So that was a great, just like first step of saying, okay, freelancers that I already work with, or freelancers that are already working with the company, how much are they charging per hour? And so if you are working somewhere that works with freelancers, that's a great place to start, to just say, how much are they charging the company now? I did research among my peers. I think one thing that we really need to get in the habit of doing is being transparent with one another about our salaries, about our billing rates, whatever has to do with compensation. I think it is a tool of big corporations and people who don't want transparency for their benefit. It has been a tool for them to say, oh, it's gauche to talk about money. No. You need to be talking about money with your peers, and you need to make sure that you understand what's going on among the people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, and that's freelance or at a regular job. So one thing that I did was speak to my friends who are freelancers and say, how much are you charging? How much are you getting paid for the work that you're doing? And again, that research of understanding what is the market paying for this type of work and figuring out where I feel like I fit in with that. There's also databases online that collect different rates that different types of freelancers in the communications area are charging. In my Freelance Freedom course that launches in November, I will provide detailed information about trusted databases that are vetted, that I know that the information within them is accurate and up to date. And that is a great way to figure out another method to figure out how much to charge. Lastly, and this one's a little bit more subjective, to figure out how much I needed to charge clients, I had to look at my own goals. Again, going back to those questions that I asked myself, what are my monthly income goals? What do I want my day and month and year to look like in terms of how much I'm working? And that will all factor into how much I'm actually charging clients. I also just have to look at sort of what feels worth my time. If I am spending an hour on any given thing, what would make me feel like that was a good use of that hour? How much would I need to be getting paid? So there are some objective things, the market research and evaluating what other people in the marketplace are being paid for similar work. But there's also that piece of just knowing yourself. You might be willing to take a little bit less for an amazing project, or there's a project that you're like, I don't necessarily love this, but if I got paid a little bit more, I could love it a lot. So those are important factors just as much as anything else to figuring out how much you're going to charge. One other consideration, and again, I'll dive a lot deeper into this in my course, is the actual structure of the pay. So if you are getting paid hourly versus monthly retainer versus project fee, that also may impact how much exactly you charge. Generally speaking, you may charge more for an hourly project because you don't necessarily have a guaranteed number of hours, whereas you may charge less per hour for a retainer because of the guarantee for how much longer you know you're going to be getting that income. So there are a lot of considerations, a lot of things to think about when it comes to how to price services as a freelancer, and I will be giving a lot more detailed information in my upcoming course. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter at the link in the bio or in the caption. Freelance Freedom launching in November. It'll be a very in-depth 3-hour course, and we will have significant time on pricing services. I also have my free worksheet that is available for download, questions to ask yourself when you're ready to jumpstart your freelance career. So go ahead and download that as well, making all of these resources available to you. So if you've been listening to this video, you've been wondering, what should I charge? I'm freelancing now. What do I do? These are great places for you to start. Have you been thinking about this? What have you been doing to try to figure it out? Let me know in the comments.